Yo, so the ecosystem in Wuthering Waves can be a pain in the balls sometimes, so I decided to make an updated echo guide to go over echo farming and the ecosystems in general that can be utilized by literally any player, whether they're new or whether they're a returning player. So let's go ahead and get into this. So I firstly wanted to point out a really good 5-piece relic set that works on basically any DPS character, and it's actually very good on all of these DPS characters, and that is the Lingering Tunes set. The Lingering Tunes 2-piece set bonus gives you a plus 10% attack bonus, and it also gives you a 5-piece set bonus that while on the field, attack increases by 5% every 1.5 seconds. This effect stacks up to 4 stacks, and your outro skill damage is plus 60% on that as well. This works on basically any DPS character in the game right now. Sure, it might not be literally the best set, like for example, Kulcharo and Yinlin might want to have the Void Thunder set, but the Lingering Tunes set is not that much far behind on a lot of these characters. In fact, it's a very minimal amount in many of these cases. And if this set works on basically any character, you can switch these sets around, even in the Tower of Adversary. So you can put this set on basically any of your DPS characters and swap it around as necessary. This is going to be very impactful for players in the early stages of the game, because this is something that you can use as a stepping stone while you farm out some of the other gear pieces. That way, you're not missing out on damage by having to farm out like 5 different sets for 5 different characters or whatever you might be doing, right? You can just use this one set and swap it around to all of these other characters. So let me show you guys a way that you can set up this relic setup so that it works on literally any DPS character in the game as it stands right now. Obviously, disregard the rarity of these echoes. These are just placeholders to show you guys the main stats that you should be going for. You want to go for gold tier on every single one of these echoes, obviously, to get the most out of them. Otherwise, you could be kind of like wasting resources to some extent. Anyways, in the early game, of course, if you do have to level up some purples to get yourself to those gold echoes, that's fine. But you do want to be going for gold echoes eventually. Now for the 4-cost echo, you want to have the Mech Abomination. He's the only option that you have in the game right now, so definitely that's the guy to go for. And for the main stat, you're going to want to go with crit rate or crit damage, depending on what your substats are or your main stat of your weapon. Obviously, you need to have a lot of crit rate in order to get your crits, because your crit damage doesn't matter if you don't have enough crit rate. However, if you have God tier crit rate substats, then you might be able to justify going with a crit damage main stat on this echo. And for the rest of these echoes, you actually want to just go with attack percent every single time. Because if you, let's say, go with a thunder setup, like a, let's see here, like an electro damage piece, for example, this would work on a character that is electro damage, but it won't be able to be utilized on every DPS in the game right now. The point of showing you guys this was that you could set this up to work on any DPS character in the game as it stands right now. So you would want to build attack percent on literally everything. You technically do get diminishing returns on your attack eventually, but if you were to, let's say, use Electro instead, and you used this set on like a different character that's not Electro, that would be even worse than having the attack stat. So you could obviously, with these 3-cost echoes, work towards getting other pieces that are either Electro, Fusion, you get the point, all of these other pieces, if you want to do that eventually. This is just how you might want to set this up at the very beginning while you farm out all of those other harder to get pieces that are more ideal or centered around the character that you're going to be using. And as far as farming these echoes are concerned, you can just go into your data bank, go over here to this this third tab here, and find any of the different elemental types for any of the different echo sets in the game, such as Lingering Tunes. And you can farm out any of these 3-star echoes or 1-star echoes or even 4-star echoes, and you can find them right here in this menu. For example, this bear right here is probably the most abundant 3-star echo that can potentially drop the Lingering Tune set. And you just hit detect right here, and it shows where he is in your world. You can click on tracking, and it will just take you to where they are in your world. You can warp right to them, go defeat them, wait for them to drop, obviously, and then go and do this all across your entire world. Depending on what echo you are farming, this could take, you know, anywhere from like 15 minutes to maybe like 30 minutes or something like that to farm out every single echo from your world. They reset every single day. So if there's something that you are really trying to farm out, I would consider farming out every single one in your world until you have completed that. Now, you can also go and farm out echoes from other people's worlds. So you can use the co-op system, and you could try to apply to join randos' worlds. They might let you in, they might not, and you could always ask them if it's okay to farm in their world. And if you don't want to do that, you could always use the friend system like this right here, and you can go into somebody else's world that you know, and you can farm out echoes in their world. That way you're not disrupting anybody else's world state. And you could also allow them into your world. So, for example, me and my buddies tend to farm certain echoes together. That way, and we're all doing it together. They're farming my world all at the same time, then we go into their world, and then we go into the next person's world. That way, you have way more opportunities to get the echoes that you want, because let's be honest, sometimes those 3-star echoes especially don't drop very often. Now, this next one is going to be a bit more of a beginner tip. Now, you can't get 5-star echo drops until you reach databank level 15. Unfortunately, as you can see here, you only get 4-star drops until you reach level 15. There are some enemies, there are some echoes, I should say, in the open world that are glowing red, and when you defeat them, they do drop 5-star echoes. As long as those echoes are level 60 or above, they will drop 5-star echoes. I think there is one in the world that's level 60 that might not drop it. It might drop a purple still, but there is a level 60 echo that does drop these 5-star echoes, and everything above that level will guaranteed drop a 5-star echo. And your rarity, as you can see, goes up the higher you go. You see at level 17, it goes to 50%. At level 19, it goes to 80, and it stays that way at level 20, as you can see here. And you can't unfortunately get to level 20 until you have ascended to phase 5. I left this way so that you guys could see that. It doesn't allow you to get to that level 20. You can still build up to 20, but you won't actually be able to benefit from it until you reach the next ascension. So you would have to be UL level 40 in order for you to be able to benefit off of this particular level 20. However, basically reaching 15 is the most important thing that you could do. And obviously, the more levels you go, the higher your stamina goes, which is obviously a very important asset to the game. Unfortunately, there's only 2 ways that you can raise your databank level right now. One of them is by using the milestone system, and the other is by simply farming out a ton of echoes, and we'll go over that in just a second here. But as you can see here, this is inside of your guidebook where you would normally do your dailies, but if you go all the way to the bottom here with your milestones, as you can see, there are different little achievements that you can do to raise your milestone level right here. And when you do raise your milestone level, you get a bunch of rewards. One of them is raising your databank experience. This is very, very good in the early stages for raising up that databank level all of the way up. The other way, of course, is by using the databank system. Go into this menu right here, the Echo Gallery, and you can see all of the different echoes in the entire game here, and you can see all the different rarities that you have as well, even echoes that you don't have. So you can actually click on this tracking system right here on any of these echoes. You can hit detect, and it will help you find any echo in the entire world. It'll take you straight there. You just have to go over to that location to find it, and it will show up on your mini map. And you do get echoes for every single rarity, so make sure that you're not only getting the blue tiers, you're getting the purple tiers, and make sure that you're also getting those gold tiers once they are available to you. And definitely go after some of those red enemies in the world, those red echoes in the world, I should say, because those give you a guaranteed they give you a guaranteed gold tier drop as long as they're level 60 or above. If they're below level 60, they will only drop the purple until you get your databank level to 15. So definitely go after those echoes that are level 60 or above to get the 5-star drop. That'll help you raise your databank level. So another way to min-max your echo farming is to actually just farm out the right echoes. I know that sounds stupid saying that out loud, but hear me out here for a second. So this flautist right here drops for the Lingering Tune set, which is the attack set that I was talking about earlier, which is universally good on any DPS right now. But he also drops for the Void Thunder set. We're obviously talking about the Sonata effect, that 2-piece and 5-piece bonus. So if you are farming out for, let's say, Yinlin or Kelcharo right now, you could also be farming for this Lingering Tune set that is, again, universally good on just about any character. So make sure that when you are farming out certain echoes, that you farm out one that is best for your account based on what your needs are. For example, this bear right here, he drops for the Lingering Tune set as well. and he drops for the Moonlit Cloud set. So if you're farming out the Moonlit Cloud set for a support character or for like a sub DPS character that wants energy regeneration, or even potentially a sustainability character that wants that, this bear is very, very abundant in the world. He's one of the best things to farm because, again, he is abundant in the world. There's a lot of opportunities for him to drop for you, and he could drop the Lingering Tune set, and he could drop this Moonlit Cloud set, which a lot of us are farming out because that Moonlit Cloud set is essentially the best support set in the game right now. Now, some tips on the data merging system. As you can see right here, this is still in the data bank. At the higher your data bank level, the better your merges will be. You can use those echoes that you don't really care about, and you can end up getting some really good stuff off of it. Let's just go ahead and put these, wow, blue tier echoes. These are probably not that great, right? But if we do this, wow, would you look at that? We got a gold tier echo, and I've gotten like 2 gold tier echoes off of this before. And if you are using Calamity level echoes, you have a better chance of getting a bunch of gold tier echoes on it. So I haven't tested it too much myself because I haven't been farming out the Calamity echoes like a ton, but you should definitely give that a try. The Calamity echoes are, for example, this guy right here. The turtle is a Calamity echo. Let's just go ahead and go to the guidebook to show you guys what I mean here. Those are the weekly bosses. All 3 of these are Calamity level echoes. And if you use your trash pieces from these in the data merge system, they will typically give you more stuff. Now, that's just been my experience. I don't think we've actually been able to properly test this to its fullest, but that's just what I've noticed, and that's what I've noticed from a lot of friends that I know that have been using that system. And while you are, let's say, standing in front of a boss, like you are farming out a weekly boss, like let's say one of, let's just say like this guy right here, the Mech Abomination, that respawns every couple of minutes or so. After you defeat him, he'll respawn again in a couple of minutes. While you're sitting there in your menu, goofing off, jerking off, watching Rule 34 video or something like that, you can be merging in this data system right here every once in a while in order to try to get something good to drop while you are farming out your echoes. You could use this system at any given point in time. There's always something to do. Now, obviously, don't merge good stuff away. You want to make sure that you're merging with, things. So once you've done the auto setup for a while, eventually it'll start telling you stuff like, hey, you're about to merge, a high rarity item or something like that. So definitely keep that in mind and don't necessarily merge those things. You can select whichever items you want to merge. So definitely utilize this system. I've gotten some pretty good drops out of this thing. It's not a complete waste of time. Now, as far as your main DPS characters are concerned, as far as your main echo piece, you pretty much want to be going for crit rate or crit damage every single time. This is the end goal for your echo farming. If you need to use a stepping stone piece in the meantime, that's totally fine because the 5-piece damage bonus is so strong in this game. Even if you're not critting in the early stages, that's okay, but you definitely want to be going for a crit rate or crit damage piece in the long run, so I would recommend just going for that now because you know that the echo farming is not exactly perfect. It's a bit of a grind. So when you get something like a crit rate drop like this, that's actually a pretty good piece to potentially level up. As you can see, I stopped right here because I was really hoping for it to also drop crit damage. But now that I've got it to level 20, I only have 1 more potential substat drop. So I stopped right here because I'm just a little bit unsure. I would recommend not going beyond 10 or 15 in most cases in the early stages because the upgrade material for echoes is somewhat scarce. There's a lot of ways to be able to get that stuff, but you don't necessarily have a lot of access to it. So I would stick to going to like level 10 or 15 on most of your echoes in the early stages unless you get god rolls, and it's potentially worth going a little bit further. And obviously there's a bunch of ways that we can get echo upgrade material, whether it's through events, whether it's through quests, whether it's through just doing boss challenges. Even boss challenges actually drop echo upgrade material. So as you're just naturally navigating the world, you will end up getting more echo upgrade material. But if you're super low and you need a little bit more, there's a bunch of different ways we can do it. And I'm going to show you guys 2 good ways to do it if you're really, really desperate. So these tacit fields aren't always the best use of your wave plates. But I will say that it does cost 50, but you at least get 450 experience right here. You also get tuners, which we need to get the substats out of our echoes. And at the back end here, you can also see that we get some high rarity echo experience items as well. This gives you 5,000 Echo experience, which is the highest tier item for Echo upgrade material as it stands right now. And these echoes that drop from the tacit field can actually be pretty potent as long as you have leveled up your databank high enough. For example, this right here is a pretty decent one for me to farm because I have Yinlin and Keltaro, and it drops the Void Thunder set. So whenever I'm utilizing this particular tacit field, I've very often gotten the Violet Heron to drop and the Flautist to drop. And I've managed to do that even though I farmed all of those echoes out of my entire world. They'll still drop from this particular tacit field, so keep that in mind. This is not a good way to farm out those echoes. This is just a bonus for getting kind of like a bunch of these other items and a bunch of this experience and these tuners. It's just a way for you to be able to get some extra Echo upgrade material and some echoes along the way as well. So make sure you're looking at what you get as your drops and utilizing it to the fullest. For example, this bottom piece right here, if you're farming out, you know, Havoc Rover, or the I guess you could say the energy regen set, this is the one you have to farm because it doesn't exist anywhere else. But let's say you are farming out the attack set and you also are farming out the rejuvenation set. This is the perfect one to farm. So min-max what tacit field you are going for because you will get tuners experience and the Echo upgrade material out of every single one of these. Another place that's good for you to be able to get Echo upgrade material is the point shop. As you can see, I'm low on mine because I ended up blowing a lot of my my points from the Tower of Adversary on this particular shop last month. The shop reset 8 days ago as of the recording of this video, and so I blew pretty much everything I had at that time on that previous shop because it resets. And so there's a limited amount of these materials that you can get from this shop. So as you can see, I'm pretty much saving the rest of what I have, and I'm going to be getting more but the further I go in the Tower of Adversary in order to be able to use in this shop. And now, obviously, I wouldn't necessarily recommend going for the Resonator experience or the weapon experience because you can get that very easily from the simulation farming that you can potentially do. And a lot of other places will give you that. Now, something you might want to save up for are potentially these rare echoes that have these are the shiny echoes that potentially have some special abilities added to them. They're not just echoes that look cooler, they actually have some slightly better bonuses as well that help you in combat in some cases. So you might want to save up for that, or you might want to use it on Echo upgrade material like this, or these tuners like this. Just something to keep in mind. Anyways, if any of this was helpful or informative in any way, shape, or form, consider leaving a like and subscribe. It really does help the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.